welcome back to the ALSA podcast. My name is Sarah, and today we have the incredible High Priestess Nuha here with us today. I would also like to start by saying a big thank you to the College of Law for sponsoring this podcast. So, how have you been?
Good, I've been very good. It's incredibly hot, so I've been sweating.
Yeah, the weather in Wellington has been hotter than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I wore a sweater thinking it would be cold. The weather here is like unpredictable. I also haven't been back in Wellington for ages, so I keep like forgetting.
Where did you come from?
I was in a bunch of places. I was in Auckland. I don't rate Auckland.
Okay.
And before that I was in Palmy and then in New Plymouth.
Palmy? What were you doing in Palmy? Are you from Palmy?
No.
Are you from Palmy?
No, I'm not. Stop. No hate to Palmerston North. We love Palmerston North.
What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about your dating life.
My dating life?
Marriages.
No, that's not specifically
We need
me.
to get Sarah married. She's been single for way too long.
Just to clarify, this episode is not about me. It's about Asian relationships and marriages in general. So
Not excluding you.
not excluding me, but not exclusively me.
Okay.
So it's marriages, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
dating, etc., etc. What do you think makes dating, relationships, and marriages in Asian cultures unique? Like, what sets that scene apart from Western culture or any other culture?
Yeah, well, I feel like it's very different in more conservative groups or cultures. So like India, Pakistan, more like southeast regions, especially ones that are like heavily like religious.
Yeah.
So it's very different between like Hindus, Muslims, even like atheists or Christians from that region. But I know that Korea and like Japan and stuff, they're much more like westernized.
Yeah.
Especially in China as well. So I really want to know what the like approach is there, because it seems very Western, other than the matchmaking thing.
What do you mean westernized?
In the sense that you guys aren't like, oh yeah, no, because it's fine for you guys to be like dating or have like a boyfriend. We cannot have boyfriends. You cannot be dating.
Oh really?
You cannot date. So basically, what it's like is that you go to high school, you go to uni, and then you can never look at a guy. You can never like interact with anyone and be like flirt or anything.
Oh really?
No, you're gonna get like exiled.
Oh.
And then after that, in uni, all of a sudden, you're supposed to turn to your parents and be like, this is the person I want to marry. Go talk to their father and get me married.
Oh.
So it's like, arranged marriages are still a really big thing. It's what my parents expect as well.
From you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, I'm like, which I'm not like against. I feel like because it's in our cultures, it's more like two families coming together.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have like the expectations in that relationship that like solidify it more. Because you know, when sometimes I think about like Western relationships or marriages and stuff, and I think like, what really differentiates that from dating? Like I get like because there are a lot of people that also don't get married.
Yeah, because you can be partners and you can have children but you can be partners.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in terms of a Western culture, being married, some people think of it as it's admin, it costs money, you know. You could just get eloped and be married like that, or you could just not be married, because at the end of the day I feel like that's kind of a social construct in terms of what makes your relationship before marriage different to your relationship after marriage, if you're still living together, you know, partnership and etc.
Well, I think of it more like, well, if you can get eloped and have kids, and like, because it's just that thing is just between you and your partner, I feel like there's not much that differentiates it from just dating alone, and I feel like it makes separation easier if there's like a rift within that relationship. because I feel like here, because everything is so like secular and like you're also like nuclearized, that it makes it like if there's a rift between you and your partner, there's not a lot you can do within that relationship, which makes separation easier. But I feel like in our cultures, because the whole family is involved, it's like,
Right.
oh, like there's a song, it's like, I can't remember, but it's like, मैं मायके चली जाऊंगी, तुम देखते रहियो. So basically she's telling her husband, like, I'm gonna go back to my mom's place, and then you're just gonna be watching. At that point, like, they're not even divorced. It's like, oh, you had a fight in your marriage? Because what happens is like the woman, the bride lives in her husband's house with him and his family.
Yeah.
And so when they have like an issue or like they fight or something, she just goes to her mom's place and she's like, this is it. I hate this guy. And then he will do something to like remedy that.
Oh.
And you're still not separated, right? It's because it's so community based, because it's the two families that are coming together. They're all involved in it.
Right.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing. Like, don't get me wrong.
So do the families start off knowing each other and being friends?
It doesn't have to be, but because it's such a like a big thing, it's a big event as well. Like
it's like
Indian weddings
days,
are multiple days, and the entire family is getting involved, and generally they tend to like save up money. My parents are saving up money for my marriage. My mom has started like collecting jewelry for me.
Sounds like
and making
you should
clothes
be getting
for
married
me.
soon.
Babe, I think our population is fine. Your whole government is ready for you to get married. I think it's, you know, I think it's really cool in the way that like Korean culture has developed, but I still find that the way that Indian kind of culture, the way that we look at relationships is also quite interesting. I just think sometimes when it comes to like separation, not so much, this is just like my thinking, but I think it's easier if you're like a Muslim and you get divorced rather than it is like if you're a Hindu or like you're like following a different religion, because they actually have a belief where it's like if you and your partner get married, that's it. That's your soul bond for the rest of your life.
So there's no divorce.
You cannot get divorced. So, or it's very difficult to get divorced. So it makes it a lot harder, especially if something goes really sour in the relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like for like 6, but that's all I know so far. I can tell you an extensive list about like Muslim weddings and everything, but like there's a lot of Muslim relationships that I know that are like Kashmiri or from like Pakistan or in India, where they've had a like marriage and whatever, the woman didn't like it or the husband didn't like it, and they divorced, and it's fine, it's normal. Not so much with like other groups, if I'm being honest. It makes that also harder if you like leave the country.
Oh, true.
Because you're leaving your entire family behind, right?
So is that not typically allowed in the family to leave the country? Like if you're married and then you and your husband are on the same page and then you decide to immigrate to another country, leaving your family behind, would the family say no? Or
they wouldn't say no. Generally they would be like, yeah, go for it, but it depends like the monetary aspect of that. Sure. Because it's like, oh, it depends why you're leaving the country, like all that kind of stuff. You still have to like give them money. Like,
give them money?
Like your family and stuff, right? Like, because especially for like the men of the family, like they'll be kind of expected to like give money to their family to support like their mom, their dad.
Oh, to provide for them?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you're overseas, you're still expected to provide for them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You think I'm not a man?
That's really different to what I expected that you were going to say about marriages, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I myself don't think about marriage at all. And whether it's Western or Korean, it's just not a thing that I think about. So I've never really thought about. I knew arranged marriages were still a thing in Southeast Asia, but I don't expect it to go to the extent of that. I mean, like families coming together and
that it was applicable to someone that you know.
Yeah. And then your mom was like expecting you to be the arranged marriage.
Well, it can be like an arranged marriage. That's when they like pick somebody for you.
Yeah.
Or you can pick someone yourself. But you're not dating before you get married. And even if it's like arranged, or even if you've picked that person, you're not dating beforehand. You're just talking.
That dating thing that you said really kind of blew my mind, because dating. So in Korea, you're not expected to, it's not as open as Western cultures, as in like, start dating from like 12 or like 7, but you're still, if you're in high school, like 17, 18, you're dating at that point. You can be, it's not looked down upon to be dating. If you're at uni, you're dating, you know, and there's a thing called CC, it's called campus couples. Yeah, so like lots of people date when they go to uni, do that, and then if they do want to get married, they do get married, but the concept of partnership isn't really a thing in Korea, of living with someone that you're not married with. So it's not really common to actually move out of the house, like move out of your parents' house, unless you get married. So unless you live, so say that you don't live in Seoul, like a different part of South Korea you live, but then you get into a university in Seoul, obviously it's a long commute. So unless in that specific case, you'll be boarding at a uni hall, but if you're living in Seoul, then you'll just be commuting and then back to your parents' house. Even if you had a boyfriend, you wouldn't be like living together. That's a marriage thing. It's that is where the conservative part comes in, of like, you don't live with like someone until you're married.
That's crazy to me. Like, that's the conservative part.
Just
because for us, like, even just the concept of like holding hands with another guy, that's like, airstrike her now! Because when I went to Kashmir, I was like walking with one of my guy friends, like he's a family friend. For ages. His mom and my mom were like best friends all throughout their childhood and stuff. And I basically grew up with this guy. And we were walking together, and the amount of glares we got, sometimes it's even just like me and my brother were walking, and people are like,
so are you not allowed to walk with someone of an opposite gender?
Well, it's not
without being frowned upon.
Well, they'll be like, why are they together? What are they doing together?
But
are they dating?
You and your brother, your siblings, obviously, like,
but I guess people
together
can't
as
tell.
a family.
No, it's just like me and him. Like, we'll be going for a walk, and people will be like,
do you not look like your brother? Do you guys not look like
I really hope that I don't. I feel like as kids we did, but now, like, it's less so. Like, he's got, like, really curly hair. He's, like, a typical, like, brown guy. So he's, like, he's got a beard, all that kind of stuff. So he looks more like my grandfather. And I look, and I hate saying this, I look like my dad.
Do you think parents play a big role in matchmaking or relationships? But I feel like you already kind of answered that.
Yeah. What about for you?
Matchmaking, I think, is a thing that still happens in Korea. I know my mum had a few set up for her, but at the end of the day, it's just a date. You know, you go out for dinner or drinks to see what that person's like, and if you don't like them, then you're just like, oh no, not for me. But it's not like you meet them, you're getting married. There's a lot of, it's called son. So son means like a line, pretty much. So it's like they're like matchmaking you, but it happens quite a lot at uni as well, because that's when people really get into the dating scene. And so friends set up friends, but then also people from... So in Korea, uni is really selective, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone in one course know each other because it's that small of a cohort.
Really?
And they don't have multiple streams or anything like that. So they have one course representative in that year group, and then they have... So that the people that go to that course know each other all. And so they have like course matchmaking. So sometimes you would like go out with people from like who do athletics or who do
okay.
like
fine arts.
Like finance, I feel.
Not fine arts, finance.
So yeah, like you would get that set up with another course and like a few people, like 3 on 3, 10 on 10, you know, or just, and then...
Oh, wow.
So you get set up like that, and then you kind of go, and then you just talk to a lot of people.
It's like speed dating.
Yeah, pretty... well, kind of like a group date. I think it's a group date. So you might not get to know every single person that shows up, but then it's kind of just like a vibe check hangout. Like, you're still meeting them for the first time, but...
Very efficient.
Going out for drinks. Yeah. So that is really common in Korea, and you can see it in a lot of K-dramas that it happens. Yeah. I myself haven't been in the uni scene in Korea, so I don't know how accurate that is, but
this is
what I see and hear, and my parents have told me that it happened. In terms of that, do you think dating has evolved at all in terms of social media, you know, dating apps? Dating apps are really common in the Western dating scene, I feel. It's less common in Korea, I think.
Really? Okay.
Just, again, because of that whole conservative idea, because hookup culture is quite big in Western society, right? So, like, if you're on the dating app, it doesn't necessarily mean you're looking to date someone. It could just be that, I don't know, you want to hook up. But that's not a thing in Korea, or at least you don't do it publicly.
Oh, yeah.
So you would never just actively be like, yeah, I'm hooking up with someone, or like, I just hooked up with someone. It's not, it's too conservative in terms of that to publicly say that out loud.
Yeah.
So dating isn't really a thing. Dating apps aren't really a thing. But what do you think? And then also, like, your experience as someone who's Asian living in New Zealand, you know, do you think any of it has evolved or changed?
I feel like we don't have dating apps. We have, again, apps for marriages.
You have marriage apps.
Yeah. So it's like, I remember seeing an ad in India where it's like this guy, this father, and he's just like turning around to his daughter, and who's like, and she's wearing like a lehenga, like a red lehenga, which is like a typical like attire for a bride.
Yeah.
And she's just like walking around in like this massive bridal dress, and her dad's like the entire time behind her being like, and look at this guy, oh look at that guy, and she's just like, Dad, and he's like, why, it's such a great app. And so, and after that, like she gets married, and she's like super happy. And yeah, but other than that, I feel like, yeah, apps are not a big thing. And because like India is made up of communities, you kind of just have like your parents will do the picking. Like you won't, like your friends, your parents, but you're just gonna like meet up. And you kind of like turn around and you like report to your friends, and you're like, and then and like if you like the person, you'll turn around to your parents and be like, marry me to this person. Because when you're marrying, it's not just you and that person alone.
True.
It's like you, your family, him, his family, and you're coming together.
Yeah.
So it's a much bigger ordeal.
True.
And it's not just that. Like you get like a shaman will tell you like what's the most auspicious date. They'll tell you like if your personalities are like you know are good, if you're in the same caste, like is it caste? where it's just like, oh, are you in the same like level, essentially? So like you've got like Brahman, which is at the top, and then you have, I forget the rest, but like,
oh, is it like social classes?
Yeah.
Oh,
social
okay.
classes, and they'll be like, oh, are you in the same social class?
Oh.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. And then you can also get like hire someone to do a background check on the person that you're gonna, like your daughter or your son is gonna marry, and they're basically like a spy.
Like a private investigator.
They're a private investigator, and they go and they investigate this person. There's actually an entire film about this. It's actually really funny. And it's this guy being like, telling this private investigator, like, this whole thing happens, and he's like, please, like, clear my name. Like, I'm actually not a bad person. I was just trying to be cool. Like, let me marry this girl. Like, why did you have to go and tell her, like, parents that I can't swear, that I'm a dusty guy? Like, I'm not like that, for real.
How long have you been in New Zealand for?
Oh, girl, I've been here for a while. I've been here for like a decade.
But you weren't born here?
I was not born here, and we've done a lot of back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've like traveled as well. So yeah.
So you are still immigrants?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, I was born in Kashmir. I was raised there for quite a while. We then like moved to, it was Saudi, then Canada, then Saudi, then like a couple of other places, and then we came here.
Yeah.
And then I lived again in Kashmir for a while. But I'm like, and we go back home quite frequently, so I'm still very in touch with the culture.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get to hear a lot about it. I get to listen to my parents tell me to get married. My cousins who are like, when are you gonna get married? Are you gonna get married here? Is it gonna be to a Kashmiri guy? Are we gonna like, or is he gonna be a guy from like New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Are you gonna work here? It's a
Speaking,
lot.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of them asking questions, what are your thoughts on like interracial relationships?
I feel like it's a lot more accepting if you're Muslim, because we have this thing where it's just like, well, we're basically the same. We're the same. It doesn't matter. Like, you can be like of any other race, but if we have this one thing in common, then it's fine. Some people tend to be a bit more like about it. Racism is real. But I turned to my mom and I was just like, well, what if he was white? And she's like, I don't care. And I was like, what if he was and she's like, I still don't care. It's like, as long as he's Muslim, it's fine.
Oh, so
and then she turns to me and she goes, maybe you should marry like an Indonesian man. And I was like, okay.
Why? Just
because they're good Muslims.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's the religion that counts, not the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not the same for like other people. Like, you know, some religions are like, what is it called? They're really much like with Hinduism. It's like very much like a race and religion, like it's intertwined.
Yeah.
So like you won't really see Sikh people that are not like Punjabi.
Right.
And most of the Hindu people you will see end up being Indian, right? So those two are very like interconnected.
Yeah.
It's like the race and your identity. Yeah.
But what are your personal thoughts on it? Like, because I ask because you obviously have, I assume, lived in a Western culture longer than you have lived in your own culture. So surely you have to have been influenced by, you know, what, like New Zealand expectations or at least Western expectations.
Yeah, I don't think I could marry someone who's like only lived in Kashmir.
Okay.
Or only been in India for their whole life, just because I think our ideologies would clash a lot.
Yeah.
And I can be really like argumentative, or well, the thing is like I can get like irritated really easily.
Yeah.
And if it's like a fundamental value that I have and they don't see eye to eye with me on those things, I'm like, this is it.
But I feel like morals are really important when it comes to marriages, especially dating as was one thing, but I feel like when it comes to fundamental values and you want to keep them because they're really important to you, I feel like marriage is something that has to align for.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've gotten 2 marriage proposals so far. Yeah, and
What age?
one.
You're 20, aren't you?
Oh no, there's 3 in total. Yeah. Well, one was literally last year. And this is a really funny story, and my mom wouldn't let me off the hook on this, and I was like, what if I kill myself? And what are you gonna do then? Because the entire time she was like, oh my god, his dad came up to you and he was like, are you single? Are you married? Oh my god, Nuha, we need to get you married. We need to get you married. And she kept bringing up the topic, and I was like, I haven't finished uni. Like, I cannot cook for myself. I cannot fend for myself. Like, where is this coming from? And then after that, she calls my grandmother and she orders another suit to be made. And I was like, this is it. This is the end of my line.
You're so close to getting married.
Yeah, save me, save me. Like, I turned to her and I was like, Mom, what if I never get married? And she goes, that's perfectly fine. It's your choice. But the way she's been acting, it does not seem that way. It does not seem that way.
So she's fine if you don't get married?
Allegedly.
But she still wants you to get married.
100%. I told my dad, he was just like, oh yeah, like if you get married, like I have like all this stuff like, you know, saved up for you.
Right.
To give it to you as like your, you know, like your marriage gift. And I was like, what if I never get married? He's like, you're never seeing it then. And I was like,
what about your brother?
Well, because he's younger than me, so he doesn't have that problem yet. It's because my parents, when they like, also because he looks like he does not care about the way he looks. He's such a guy. So they're regarding my brother, they're always like, oh, he like a jungli janvar. Yeah, it means like he looks like an animal is what they say. But it sounds less harsh in Urdu.
Okay.
But yeah, they're like, oh, he looks like an animal, like his hair is all messed and his like he doesn't take care of his face. Like, who's gonna marry him? Who's gonna wanna marry him? But you, on the other hand, like, you know,
there's your expectations.
Let's get it done. Yeah. One time when I was in intermediate, this woman came up to me and she goes, do you have kids? I'm like 12, I'm 13. And she goes, do you have kids? And I go, no. And she goes, are you married? And I go, no. And she's like, do you want to get married? And I was like, cause I have a son, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I'm 13.
You are a kid.
I am a kid. And she was like, oh. And then she just left. And I was like, I just saved myself from something. But there was also this other guy, and he's from Kashmir. And the really funny thing is, like, he was heavily, like, what is it called? This guy, like, he used to smoke, like, 2 packs of cigs a day.
He's a chain smoker.
He's a chain smoker. And he's been doing this since he was 16. His teeth are gone. His teeth are gone. And my mom knows about him. And she's like, oh, just be nice to him, yada, yada, yada. And he also, like, smokes weed and stuff. Okay. So, which is, like, taboo. And he turns to me and he goes, oh my god, and he's like one of those guys like who plays guitar. One time when me and my mom went to visit his mom, like, and his family and everything, he pulls out his guitar and he starts serenading me. Like, I'm not kidding, in front of me, my mom, my brother. And the entire time he's playing, because he smokes so much, so his voice is that like, yeah. And so he's like singing, and my brother the entire time is like, and he's like staring at me, and I'm like, this is a sitcom. This is a sitcom. This is not real. Like, how do you have the audacity to do this and be this cheesy in front of my mom and my brother and your mom? So that happened, and then at one point he called me and he's just like, I'm in love with you. Like, what if we got married? And I was just like, how are you going to come to New Zealand? Like, where are you going to get this money from? You're like 21 years old and you don't work. You've never worked in your life. And you don't study. You've never had a job. You don't know what you can't really speak English. Like, how are you going to adapt? And he's like, it's okay. Like, as long as we're in love, we can get it. You know, everything will come to us. And I was like, no. And then he started profusely sobbing, and he cut the call, and he's never talked to me ever again. Which was cool. He said something to me. He was just like, every time my mom left the house, she would ask me, she would leave, and I would turn to her and I say, get me something nice. And she'd say, okay. And one time she left, and I said the same thing. And when she came back,
she comes back with him. Give me something that brings him in.
No, but she turns to him and she goes, look what I brought you. And she moves to the side, and apparently I'm right there behind her. And he was like, and that was the happiest day of my life. And from that day onwards, it was decided that you were mine.
He said that to you?
Yeah.
Out of no context?
No, he gave me the story, and then he was like, so I've been in love with you since that day.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he was like, and you're not going to get a sweeter story than that from anyone else. I've been in love with you since the day I saw you.
Yeah.
And
yesterday. It's been one day and he's been in love with you for a whole one day.
No, literally because we were 4 at that point, right?
4 years old?
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you even remember this?
He's head over heels for you.
Apparently, he, yeah. It was rough. It was really rough because it's like, you're bald. Oh, you have no teeth. You've been chain smoking since you were 16. This just makes it a bit hard for me.
I was gonna say, dang, you have a lot of rows pulling with these guys at age of 21, but then I don't know if I want to be in your place.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So fun.
But yeah, no, they're the last guy. He was like, this is when we went to a butchery, and I see this guy who's doing all the work and everything, and I'm like, I turn to my mom and I go, ugh, he's a typical Indian guy. He's turning to his bros and saying stupid stuff, and I'm like, I already know that this man would get on my nerves. When they're typical guys who don't, they're typical Indian guys, someone whose mom will completely dote on him, and that he couldn't do any wrong, even though if he's a piece of and you can edit that out, but there's no other way to describe it. And he's got that gold chain, he's got gold teeth, and I'm like, no, I already know his personality. He's gonna turn to me and be like, go cook me dinner. And then he's not gonna help me clean up or anything. And so I turn and we pay, and then this man goes, how old are you? And I'm like, oh no, he doesn't say that. He's like, are you studying? Are you working? And I'm like, oh no, I'm studying. He's like, what are you studying? I go, law. And he goes, oh, you're gonna be a lawyer. Yada. He keeps talking, then he asks me my age, and I'm like, I'm 20. And he's like, oh, you're really young. I was asking because I've got a son. And the thing is, I was wearing shoes that were this high. I'm 5'2", and he goes, but the thing is, you're really tall. You're almost as tall as my son. I don't have many requirements, but I would like my partner to be at least 5'5". And and he was trying to set me up with his son. And it was so shameless that even my mom, who was beside me, was speechless. She was he sat there and he was like, what did your dad do? What does your mom do? Oh, your mom does this? Oh, that's really cool. This is what my wife does. Okay, how old are you? Where are you from? What do you speak? He got my entire everything. And I'm like, he's an elder, so I have to be respectful.
Yeah. Wow.
A stressful day in my life. Truly stressful day in my life.
Yeah. You got a full interrogation for a 5'4" man.
Yeah. 5'3", 5'4" man. Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm irresistible, I guess. They want me so bad.
The short, bald, chain smoking guys.
Yeah. I've got a. I guess I'm a type. I'm a type to. a certain kind of audience.
Yeah.
Are you jealous?
Are you jealous? So jealous.
Has your mom ever been like, hey, like I'm gonna set you up with this guy?
No, so in terms of that, my parents got married really young.
Mm-hmm.
They had me when they were 24 and they got married when they were 24. So, yes, Korea is more progressive now, but still has those conservative elements. Back then, it was still quite like, oh, you're really young to be having a kid and being married.
At 24, really?
Yeah, so that was because they're all so young, they don't have much of like, oh, I want you to do this, I want you to... They are strict in terms of how I grew up, my grandparents, my granddad specifically, in terms of manners, expectations, all that, but they've never pressed me to like date or date a specific person, or like my mom doesn't really care. She just wants me to date. That's it. She just wants me to date. She's like, anyone, bring them home. I just want to see you date someone. Just date someone, please. That's her like so look on it. My dad doesn't care. Oh yeah. And also I think they have less of a I want you to do this kind of thing, because my parents got divorced when I was really young, so they were divorced. They got divorced when I was 3, and then they got divorced again this year. So
wow,
they don't have much expectation of what when I am dating someone. Mum is just date anyone, please.
Oh, anyone?
Like, doesn't matter. Just bring someone
like
home.
A gender.
Yeah.
Really?
And then my dad is just he doesn't really care.
So they don't really mind if like they're outside of Europe, like if they're not Korean.
Yeah, no. There's a thing, especially in Korea, I think this is also kind of China too, but like boys are what they want to have when they have a kid, and then they are when they're raised kind of soft.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that, and neither does my mom. Because my granddad is a super hardworking person, and he didn't come from a rich or powerful family, but he made everything for himself. He literally went to the Vietnam War to make money so he could go to uni, and then he was able to work for Samsung and be like the lead engineer there. So he takes part in that, and like obviously he should, but then he is like the epitome of someone who's really made it for himself. Came from literally nothing all the way to the position that he was able to build himself up to. So he's a really smart, super amazing, like, but also he is a stereotypical like olden days man in terms of like doesn't really show emotion, doesn't really cry, never cries. Like I know that he cares for mum and me a lot, and like my grandma a lot, but he never like expresses it. Yeah. And so mum growing up with that, and then the boys nowadays, they're all like really soft, and they don't want to go like join the military because it's mandatory in Korea, but like they're all just like, oh, I don't want to go. I want to do everything in my power that I can to like
not
get out of it, you know, or like take the easy way out, stuff like that. And they, in my perspective, and like mum agrees, is that you're like growing up soft, pretty much. You're not enduring all the responsibilities that you should be.
Oh, definitely for like Indian guys as well, like Desi guys. It's a really big thing, because like a lot of pyar is when they like overly like there's nothing you can do wrong in their eyes, especially just because you're a man. And they want a boy so badly. Because I know in China there's like the concept of like a leftover woman. Because it's like after like the one child policy and everybody wanting a boy, like women, like they're they want you to get married. Like because there's like not enough kids in the workforce, right? There are not kids, people in the workforce. So they're like, get married, have kids, like make that happen. So that's why they've got like the concept of the leftover woman now, because it's like, oh, you're so old and you're not even married.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so old and you haven't had kids. So yeah, we don't have that exact same kind of concept, but it's frowned upon. It's definitely frowned upon, not only just for a woman, but also for a guy. If you like get to a certain age and you're not married, like my grandparents got married when they were 16, 17. Oh, my grandmother was 16 and my grandfather was like 20.
Oh yeah.
26 kind of vibe.
Oh, 26.
Yeah. And then from my other from my dad's side, they were also really young. It was like, again, like 18 kind of age range. It was like 18, 25 type thing. And so they were really young. My parents, I was gonna say, they got married when they were quite old, and I was gonna say they got married at 25.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's considered old.
Right.
Yeah. So for like because my mom was like, oh yeah, I put like my work and everything first. So when she talks about it and she goes, I got married at 25, and because of the way she says it, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's quite old for someone to get married.
What is the expected age for people to get married then?
There's not so much so an expected age, but you would kind of expect someone to get married around 23 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes people, like, it wouldn't even be frowned upon if you got married at like 20 or 19. Right? They would be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like, my parents did that. Like, you're fine, do it. Yeah. But the thing is, like, they'll be like, oh, are you well set? Like, finish your degree, and then, like, yeah, go for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this before. You said you struggle to fend for yourself even now, like cooking and things.
Yeah.
Do you think gender roles and expectations are a big thing? That
Definitely. So the thing is, whenever we go back to my like grandparents' house, I tend to stay most of the time at my mom's place, and they ask us to do the housework and everything, like cook the food, or like not really cook food, just like make rice, make like the bread and stuff. We eat roti, and like set the table and do all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, I hate when they ask me to do it, because I'm like, you're gonna ask me, I'll do all the work and you won't say anything. My brother picks up a glass and fills it with water, and you guys are like, oh my god, oh my god, like he did that. And so every time they ask me to do something, I like turn to my brother and go, oh, get up, do this. You heard them, do this. And they always go, your brother should have been born a girl. He would make such a good like sister-in-law. He would make such a good wife. You should have been born a man. And I'm like, I'll do all of this. Like, I can do all of this, but I won't.
Yeah.
Because of your reaction, I won't. And so with the guys that are raised there, they have this like really big ego. Oh my goodness, I literally bet up my cousin because of this. He turns to his like sister and he goes, this is my house anyway. You're gonna go and you're gonna get married and you're gonna live in some other guy's house. All of this property is gonna be in my name. Like, this isn't even your house. So go like make the rice, go do. And I was like, at the tender age of 15, you're saying this to your sister
15?
Who's older than you?
The audacity.
Bro! I literally like turned around and talked to her, and I was just like, why didn't you hit him? Why didn't you hit him? What is wrong with you? Oh, that makes me so mad. Makes me so mad. Makes me so mad. But it's like engraved in their head. They're like, this is my birthright. And you're gonna go get married, and you're gonna like go off somewhere. And I was like, oh my god. If I have to live with a man who has this kind of thinking, you best believe we're gonna be scrapping every night. Like,
that's like so crazy.
Like, this is it. Like, I'm not letting this happen. Not in my home.
Your home.
Not in
his home.
Yeah, not in my vicinity.
Yeah.
Like, can I cook? No. So you better learn how to cook. Can I, like, do I like washing the dishes? Also no. Like, I don't want to damage my nails. So you also get onto that. There's a thing in, like, Islam. It's like you get to ask for, like, a meher. So sometimes you'll see, like, this as a trend, and these women will be like, and I want a paid vacation at the end of every year, and I want like a $500 like weekly allowance, and I want to have a cook and a cleaner, and I want that to be my meher. And some girls will be like, I want like 1,000 something all in gold, and I want this and I want that. And it's your right as a woman in Islam, like you can ask for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's slay.
Yeah. So I guess for me, I'd be like, you better learn how to cook and clean. But like, to be fair, that is also like a basic requirement in like Islam. It's just like, well, you follow what you follow the Prophet as an example. So he would like help his wife wash the dishes. He would help her do like the housework, the chores, like all that kind of stuff. And it's like an example to the men. It's like you're not like above like what you would consider to be like menial or woman's work.
Yeah.
Do any of these guys care? No. No. Like even my dad, I'll be like, Dad, can you pick the dishes off the table and give them to me so I can wash them? And he will throw a fit. He'll be like, I literally just came from work and like now you're making me do all this. Brother, it is a bowl. Brother, it's a bowl. But I raised my brother to be better than that. If there's anyone in the house who will get up and do the dishes and like help clean or even cook the food, it's him.
Wow.
It sure as hell won't be me. Sure as hell won't be me. Like, you know, I live with Rebecca. She was here in the previous podcast, and she does all the cooking. And I just clean. I vacuum her room. I like clean the entire house. I refuse to cook. I refuse to cook. Yeah. There's like 2 dishes she asks me to make, and I will do it like begrudgingly. Like I'm not happy to do it. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there.
Is it because you don't like it, or because
I hate it?
What about it do you not like?
Like I have to stand there and I have to be like, and like when I'm cooking the rice and I'm like,
it literally takes like 2 seconds to wash the rice. You set it in the rice cooker, and it does the job for you.
And I don't want to be doing it. And I don't want to be doing it. Like, what about it? Like, I'll dust the entire house. I'll vacuum. God bless Rebecca's soul. She doesn't know how to vacuum the house. I'll do all that. I clean the bathrooms. I'll do that happily. God forbid I have to step into the kitchen and cook something. Like, I made pasta and I messed up the spaghetti so badly. Like, we had to throw the entire thing out. Like, it was like actually like horrible. Like, terrible to eat. And I tell my friend this and she's like, yeah, there's like very few ingredients, but it's really hard to make. And I'm like,
spaghetti?
Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you know, like to actually make the pasta? And I was like, no, babe. I mean, like, I boiled it in the pot wrong. And she's like, oh. So that was a bit embarrassing.
Maybe it's safer that you're not in the kitchen then.
Yeah, well, you know, like I think about it, like my grandmother got married at 16. At the grown age of 20, like I can't even feed myself, let alone have a family.
Yeah, but you're still expected to get married.
Yeah, thanks for that one. That's so smart of you. Glad you picked that one up. Yeah, so when are you gonna bring a partner home for your mom?
Never. Moving on. What do you think are some common challenges faced by couples in Asian relationships in terms of anything career, family, dealing with in-laws, which is quite a big thing in Korea, or just cultural expectations in general?
Dealing with the in-laws is a really big thing. Like if you watch Indian dramas, like the bride is always, or the wife, she's always like being belittled by her sister-in-law, by her mother-in-law, and she's basically being like bullied. And sometimes it's like really bad. And it's basically all the dramas are about. Like it's never like a happy relationship.
I feel like you can't really make much content.
Oh my god, which is so funny to me. No, there's so much like romance Korean dramas, you know? Like they get hit by a truck, she goes into coma, like her secret ex-boyfriend from like the States comes back and he like walks in with his like sexy attire, and then like the main lead gets jealous and she's like, who am I really in love with? We have none of that. It's like the story starts with them getting married, and then the rest of the story is her being like abused.
What's the resolution?
There is no resolution. That same show will go on for like 700 like
episodes. I thought it was known for like really going on for a really long time.
Yeah.
No resolution?
There's basically no resolution. In the end, she'll either run away or like everything, or that's just the end of the story. That's just her life.
So every episode she just gets bullied and then
it's
the
like,
end?
Yeah, it's like one devious character in the thing messes something up to make her life super hard, and then she gets punished, but in the end she like redeems herself by like proving it wasn't her, and it just happens again and again and again. That's it. Yeah. But like generally in the relationships, another common trope, but this like happens sometimes, is like it's called love marriage.
Okay.
You know, having a love marriage. That's a bit like kind of scandalous kind of thing. But I mean, it does happen. Actually, there was a guy that I knew when I went back. He was talking about his brother, and apparently like when he was really young, like he found this girl that he really liked, and at the like they're like 20 or something when they like eloped and they got married. And he was like, yeah, it was a love marriage. And I was like, oh my god, like this is like the most scandalous news I've ever heard.
Why is it scandalous?
Because like you didn't get married and you got eloped.
Oh, because so if you don't have a big celebration,
it's not even a big celebration. Your parents didn't say yes to that. Like you didn't officially get married. Like you guys committed a sin. Like that's a sin. No sex before marriage. No hand holding before marriage. People think it's a joke. No hand holding before marriage.
What? Okay, if you were to hold a hand with a man out on the streets, what would happen?
You could be publicly disgraced. Like somebody could see you that you know, and they would go tell your parents, and you would get the beating of your life. Yeah.
So PDA is not a thing.
Even if you're married, you can't do PDA. Literally in India, you can literally get a fine or go to jail for doing PDA in public. Yeah.
So I guess it's a bad day for people with the touchy people, I guess.
What can I say? I mean, like, at least you don't have to, like, look around and, like, see people do, like, gross things and, like, make out. It was too much.
I'm not, like, PDA at all. But lots of people in Korea are. Even in friendships, they, like, hold hands all the time, like, link arms, you know, they're all, like, very touchy. And I think even in relationships, it's a lot of hand-holding in couples.
Yeah.
On the streets of Korea.
No, I think because relationships don't have a lot of weight on your life until that you're considered of age, which would be like generally like 20 something years old. Girls and guys tend to be very, very close. Like girls to girls, like they'll sit on each other's lap, like they'll hug, they'll like all that kind of stuff. And it's the same thing with like dudes as well. Like they'll hug each other, they'll kiss each other on the cheek, like all that kind of stuff, because you have really strong interpersonal bonds with your friends.
Yeah.
like with your cousins, with your siblings, all that kind of stuff. So
as long as they're not the opposite gender.
As long as they're not the opposite gender, and as long as you're not gay.
Oh, okay.
You better remain in that closet for the rest of your life. Is it
illegal?
Lock and key. I don't know if it's illegal in India anymore, but despite if it is or if it isn't, you're gonna be stoned.
Because I think it is illegal in Korea.
Is it?
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's still.
Well, it's not like illegal as in you're not allowed to be seen out in the streets. You're not allowed to get married. Like, same-sex marriages aren't allowed.
Yeah. No, but for us, it's like we have. I'm not gonna say the term because it is quite derogatory, but like you'll have people who cross-dress.
Oh yeah.
But
what counts as cross-dressing though?
Like men who will dress up as women. It doesn't tend to be women who dress up as men. Like that.
I feel like women have a lot of freedom. Like we can wear whatever.
No, not for us. No. Like men can do it. There's also like people who are like born intersex.
Yeah.
Who will be like, who present as being more masculine, but will be like, I feel more comfortable dressing up and presenting myself as a woman. And that used to be really common before the British colonized. And they used to be considered like sacred and to have a lot of knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But now, although people won't like turn around with like, there'll still be crimes against them and stuff because it's India. But you know, it's not like outrageous or anything. But a woman dressing as a man?
But what counts as dressing as a man?
Like
pants? Would I be dressed as a man right now?
Well, people would be like, why is she dressed like that? And also, the second thing is you're wearing shorts.
Fashion abolishment. Why is she dressed like that?
No, but you're also wearing shorts, so they'd be like,
no shorts allowed?
Oh.
No, not showing legs?
Definitely not in Kashmir.
Oh, really?
This?
Doesn't it get hot?
It gets hot.
Yeah.
I think the highest that we've ever hit is 40. But we tend to stay in like the 30 to like 20.
That's still
zone.
really hot.
Yeah. Well, you're not walking around wearing shorts. Shorts. You wear like a kameez shalwar.
Oh, okay.
Right? Or you wear a jeans and a shirt. And it's a long sleeve shirt, not a short sleeve shirt. Yeah. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Tattoos allowed?
No. No. Especially on a woman. Never. You better hide that thing.
I'm gonna get excited when I go there.
Yeah. Well, is it still not? I don't think tattooing is legal in Korea though.
Having a tattoo is fine.
Yeah, but
tattoo artists, it's not legal unless you're a doctor because that, like, at the end of the day, it's ink going into your skin. So you need a medical certificate to be able to legally be a tattoo artist. But there are a lot of tattoo artists.
Yeah, who work.
Yeah, so you just go on Instagram and then you just DM them and then they send you a location and like where to pull up. And then so like you get it done and you're obviously paying cash or like.
What if you get jumped?
No, it never happens like that. I've gotten a couple and it's fine.
In Korea?
Yeah, but it's become also more accepted to have a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Usually not big ones, they're just minimalistic ones. So this, I think, gets kind of, like when I went to Korea and it was summer and I was wearing a short sleeve shirt, people could see it, they were kind of just looking. But then also, I don't really care. But they don't really get the big ones, it's all like fine art, minimalistic ones. But they're also incredibly good at what they do, the artists. They're super talented people. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I have like quite a lot of ear piercings.
Yeah.
I used to have, is this something I want to disclose? I don't know. I used to have like a tongue piercing. I'm just like scared if somebody like contacts my parents and then goes, I'd be like,
no, I have a tongue piercing.
Kill her now. But yeah, that would completely, that's like almost disownable behavior. Like even my industrial, like I was on the bus one time and I helped this old man and people were like, wow, that's like, you did such a good job, blah, 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 blah. And then they looked at my ear and they went,
Take those out.
What is that?
So lots of piercings aren't allowed either?
They're looked down upon. Well, especially something like this, like traditional.
Like a
if it's
cartilage
like,
piercing.
yeah, if it's like, well, not even cartilage piercing. You'll see girls with like their ears decked out with like jewelry, and they're all gold. We're Indian, but like stuff like this that's like considered alternative.
Oh, okay.
No. Girls like that are really young, even like they'll be like 10, 12, they'll get nose piercings, and their families will do it, but. A lip piercing, a facial piercing, a belly button piercing.
How would they know if you're always dressed in long sleeve?
Because, well, the thing is, like, you can wear a sari.
Okay.
And that's when that exposes your stomach.
Oh.
That is the only acceptable,
skin exposure.
Skin exposure, yeah. And
crazy timeline. Just your stomach, it's like a belt.
It's like a band, yeah. It's like your stomach is showing. You've got like, you can either have like a short sleeve or a full sleeve, and it'll tend to have like a deeper cut kind of neckline. The thing is, women, what traditionally they used to wear was just a skirt and then a long piece of fabric, and they wrap it around their just like over their shoulder.
Like a toga?
Yeah, kind of like a toga. And it would just be the same one piece of long cloth that would be like their skirt, and like just like a simple like act as a shirt, but their chest would be completely visible. And then the British. and then the British. But yeah, so things have changed a lot. Like if you get married, you're supposed to be very covered. Women will tend to like, if you're not like a hijabi, if you get married, women will tend to like start like veiling. Or like wear a hijab. That's what happened. That's what my mom did. A lot of other people that I know. That tends to be, the way it goes.
Well,
is this marriage talk putting you in the mood to
get married? No. We're gonna do some bonus rapid fire questions.
Oh,
so you're gonna have to just answer it like this.
Okay. Oh shit.
Okay. You can't see.
Okay, fine.
The first question: dating apps or traditional matchmaking, or arranged marriages in your case?
A traditional matchmaking.
Traditional matchmaking to get married.
Yeah, I don't want to use a dating app at all. I don't feel like it's authentic.
Dating apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing. Like if you,
my favorite color is blue. I like to travel.
No, I feel like it's fine if you use it in the sense of like a hookup or like nothing serious. Like if it's just for the lols, yeah. If it's for a long-term relationship, I think it gets a little like, because imagine telling someone how you met and like.
No, exactly. I went to a wedding and I catered there. It was like a white wedding, and they were like, we met on this dating app and we matched together because we both really love cats. And I was like.
But also, no.
I love this for you though. Love this for you though.
Yeah, it's just not for me.
Not for me. Yeah.
But like, if you find the
give me a reason to delete this app.
Yeah, I think the slogan for Hinge is dating app meant to be deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second question: first date of coffee or dinner?
Oh, dinner. I think dinner.
Dinner.
I think dinner.
Dinner or drinks?
Dinner.
Would you rather date someone from your own culture or a different culture? Coming back to the interracial vibe. If you could only choose one.
Different culture.
Different culture?
Yeah.
What culture specifically?
South Korean? I don't know. Probably like Malay, Indonesian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Following your
Arabs?
Following your mum's advice.
Yeah.
Introvert or an extrovert? What do you prefer in a partner?
Introvert.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
What do you think?
I feel like you're an extrovert. You're like an extreme extrovert.
Oh wow, that feels like a slur. I think I come off as extroverted, but like the longer I'm around someone, it's like this is it. This is all I can do. Like,
what do you do when you like are unwinding? Like for you to just calm down, like recharge. Would you rather be with people or by yourself?
Oh, all by myself in my room on the floor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not even bed rotting? Just on the floor?
Like on the floor or I'm bed rotting. And I just go straight to sleep. And that will be for like 12 hours.
Oh.
I hit coma really easily. Like I can go 24 hours, no break. Yeah.
Bollywood romance or K-drama romance?
Oh, that's hard. I think K-drama gets really repetitive.
It does.
Bollywood, however, is like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Every single time. I would have to say Bollywood.
Yeah.
Just because it's so fucking crazy.
I hear there's a lot of like explosions and drama that happens.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Like there's one where like this guy pretends to have died and he hides in his friend and his
Hides
wife's
in his friend?
not in his friend, like in their house.
Oh.
And it's like, and it's a really sad story, but I'm like, you're a freak. You're living in their walls, but makes for a great movie, I
It's
guess.
like Parasite, kind of.
Yeah, basically.
Would you rather have a partner who's more logical or more emotional?
Both.
Not an answer.
Gut
instinct.
logical. Oh, emotional. No, emotional.
Emotional?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Are you emotional or more
I think I'm emotional. I think even with friends when they tend to be too logical and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Da, 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 da. I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna punch you.
You get aggressive. The anger comes out. Would you rather have a partner who's ambitious or content with simplicity?
Oh, ambitious. I think. What do you think?
For me,
Yeah.
I would say ambitious.
Logical or emotional?
Logical. This is easy for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's really hard.
Would you rather have a partner who's similar to you or completely different?
Different.
Completely different?
Completely different. Like, you know, when I'm like in groups, like my instinct is to be super extroverted, and then after that I can like crash and burn, and then be like, I wish I never
biggest
came
crash
here.
out of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want a partner that's a lot more like stable and like introverted, someone who can like match my freak.
So someone who doesn't have ADHD, someone who's neurotypical.
I can sock you. Nothing wrong with it though.
With what, stalking me?
That and being not neurotypical.
Yeah, I can say that because I have ADHD. Okay, at the end of the day, what do you think of this topic that we discussed? What
I think
were the
it's
takeaways.
I think it's incredibly interesting. I feel like there's so much more we could have covered, but it's such a vast topic.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like my insights would be that, wow, your mom would let you date a girl?
She's not.
That is my biggest takeaway, is like, that is like the biggest shock. That and that your dad fought in Vietnam.
My dad did it, my granddad did it.
Oh, your granddad did, sorry. But that's insane to me.
Oh, okay. It's just more so that my mom's just really desperate for me to be in a relationship, so she's literally like, anyone, bring them home.
Why? Rebecca's mom is the same as well. Like I turned to my mom and I said this, and she was like,
I think it's just because and I think it's more so just dating is common in Korea, and it's not expected, but like people who get to uni and get to, well, I'm still 20, but getting to the like early 20s, you kind of want to have been in a relationship or like
otherwise it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. But
why does
also,
no one want you, Sarah?
Huh?
But yeah, you were saying you wanna tend to have a relationship by the time you're 20.
No, I don't really like the concept of a relationship, I don't think. It's just, it stresses me out thinking about it. If it happens, it happens. Like, I'm never one to just like, no, I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. Like, I'm relatively an open person. Like, if it happens, it happens. But then also, I'm not out there.
Loneliness just comes to you.
Yeah, and like at moments I'm like, okay, maybe I do want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
But then other times I'm like, I don't think so. Myself is already so much for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Also, I like Korean people. Like, I've heard a lot about how they're very like clingy. They can be really clingy. I think also definitely with like guys. What is it called? Like no samgyeopsal. Like
samgyeopsal.
No. Like perilla leaves. What are they called? Genyip. Like the separating the genyip. Would you, if your partner does it for another girl, if he cuts her steak, like what are you gonna do? Are you throwing hands?
No, I don't really care.
But I know it's a really big thing. I used to live in like a flat that was basically all Korean. And I asked my friend, her boyfriend would crash out if she like helped another guy like cut his steak or like separate like the perilla leaves.
I think that's just an insane amount of possessiveness and clinginess. I think that's just like a personal thing. That's him being insecure.
I think so, but I feel like in the culture it's also like accepted to crash out over something like that.
Yeah.
Like crashing out is okay. It's considered okay. Crashing out for like as an Indian guy, like or like a desi person, like if you're hanging out with like a girl one-on-one, crash out. Like it doesn't matter like if you've known her like for several years. If he's hanging out with that girl one-on-one, even if it's him and his guys and like one other girl, crash out.
Oh.
Do it. Go for it. It's your right. You like it doesn't matter. Crashing out is fine. If you cut another girl's steak, crash out.
No, crashing out in that context is not cool.
I think that's why I'm like a bit like hesitant, you know, like if they've been born there, raised there, haven't like stepped out or have the exact same ideologies. Yeah. I'm not a fan. Of course.
Thank you for coming. And thank you everyone for listening to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yay. See you guys later.
Bye bye.